CORP-BLSP stock update. So for the session of the 3rd of September 2021, Blue Sphere Corp closed that session at $0.00008, and we have a position in Blue Sphere, so it's important that we can indicate that to you. So we can see it has a market cap of $4.2 billion, $4.2 million. Shares outstanding is 5.306 billion shares, but that is not exactly what is floated. According to OTC markets, the shares floated is 721.24 million shares, so it is a far smaller number. So that's the number that influences the price. And if you also consider what is the average volume, it will give you a fair idea of the level of participation, or that is as it concerns the stock. So moving down here, we are experiencing some blank screen at the moment. So moving down here, we can see the average volumes for the last 10 days. We have 7.727, and for the last 90 days it is 25.224. so a small fraction, a very tiny fraction of what that entire float is, but that is expected because the shares, you can largely sell but you can't buy. You can, yes, indeed, people are buying. I'm not exactly sure whether they have still been able to do so. I understand a lot of people validated that they bought through they bought the stock over the phone and all that stuff, so and we indicated as well, if you, in the last video that we got a list from Charles Schwab, the same platform you're looking at right now, and we were told about certain securities that will no longer be traded, by the end of this month, September 2021, and Blue Sphere wasn't on that list. So this is also the second time we got a list, and and Blue Sphere wasn't on that list. So we all have to, I just have to remind you again that the fact that Blue Sphere has taken advantage of the provisions of the rule and has gone dark is a legal loophole. It has taken advantage. They have taken advantage of. It was provided by the law, and they took advantage of that for reasons best known to them, and to some extent it can even be justified. So it's unfortunate that I think the interest of a lot of recent market participants implied that Blue Sphere or BLSP stock had to be the buying of the stock had to be put in place, but in any case, like we asserted in the last video, we still believe Blue Sphere will continue to be around come September 28th or whichever date it's going to be. We still believe it's going to be around. It's just that maybe you may not still be able to buy. It may just continue on like this and all that stuff. But if they're going to leave the restrictions for us to buy, that would be good. If they're going to leave the restrictions so that we can trade online, right, like we used to do, that would be really good. So there isn't really very much out there. It's just the efforts we are all making to get the shareholder on record above 300 and counting. So that's what's going on right now. So moving down, we can see even with a restriction, a buying restriction, you can see the 14-period slow stochastic oscillator that tracks momentum is not looking down, it is looking up. That's just a validation that people are still buying. If that gives you any courage at all. RSI, it's standing at 40.07. So indeed, it's just a validation that's indicated people are buying. You can see that volatility for the last 10 days is 582.45, and this you can't have this sort of figure if it's just a selling actions that are taking place. People are indeed buying, and for sure there's a good chance that those who have access to the other platforms, other hidden or dark platforms where the stock are being traded, are probably doing so at the moment. So yes, that's probably what's going on at the moment. So It appears to be consolidating within a longer term uptrend. The average directional index is below 20, indicating that the shares have traded sideways recently. However, the 200-day moving average is still sloping bullishly upwards. It's also lagging the S&P 500. Momentum for BLSP stock is improving. The 14-period Slow Stochastic Oscillator is rising as investors begin to purchase shares. Okay, so you can see that investors are definitely purchasing shares. We can see that graphically. Yes, they are purchasing shares. So sometime when as at the 25th of August, it was oversold. Right now, it is picking up. I know a lot of market participants can't believe that it's the stock. I mean, it's investors are the 14-period Slow Stochastic Oscillator is improving and people are buying shares. They can't believe it, but that's what the data is saying, and it's not wrong. So moving on, we can see that the unbalanced volume indicator is bearish, the slope of the indicator is negative, and suggests that there's a lack of buying interest. So this is also another conflict in the data that market participants will definitely amuse market participants. Yes, that is the case. Unfortunately, even though people are buying, but the interest is not as much. So in cases where you have consolidation, you will always find out some market participants come in and buy quietly and do all that stuff. So, and indeed, even huge finance houses and investment houses, that's how they get to spend all those hefty billions of dollars. It's amongst other things when stocks are consolidating, when they are quiet, they have done their due diligence and they are keen on moving into that stock. They go in at quiet times like this and just begin to pick them up in very small numbers. So we can see here the 20-day moving average figure is at $0.00009. So the stock just closed slightly below that 20-day moving average figure, and the 50-day moving average figure is at $0.00013. The 200-day is at $0.0048. So we still have a long time before that 200-day moving average begins to get bearish. Well, who knows? Fingers crossed. We'll continue to update you. And thank you very much for watching this video.